As a confidence coach in Calgary who works with businesses and individuals, I have seen that confidence looks different for everyone. In this podcast, we explore confidence through the eyes of our diverse community, redefining it one conversation at a time. Welcome to Confidence Redefined. I'm your host, Alyssa McMasters. Today, we embark on a fascinating journey into the world of today's youth. Ever find yourself wondering how teenagers navigate the landscapes of social media, societal pressures, and the overwhelming sea of information? Whether you're a concerned parent trying to understand your child's inner world, a teen who's looking to build your confidence, or simply someone who's curious about the dynamics of confidence in the digital age, you're in for a treat. In this episode, we have the pleasure of sitting down with the insightful middle schooler, Ella. Brace yourself as Ella takes the reins and fires off a series of questions that resonates with teenagers' unspoken thoughts about confidence. It's a conversation you're not going to want to miss, so buckle up as we dive into the mind of a Gen Z trailblazer. Welcome, Ella. Hi, Ella. I am so excited that you are here today to get the perspective of confidence from someone who's in middle school, about to go to high school, to see what confidence means to you. So the first question that I have for you, how can you tell if someone is confident?
Well, that really depends on a lot of different things. Like, to me, you can kind of see how they present themselves and how they present their body language. And it's really it's how they present themselves, how they speak, how they dress. And it depends on a lot of things. Like, if someone has their head down, doesn't speak very loud, wears a lot of baggy clothes, you can tell they're a little bit more of an insecure person. And it also goes for the opposite of that. Like, if they try to show off too much to gratify either their insecurity or they're secure, they're just confident. It really depends on a lot of different things with that world. It really depends on getting to know the person, because it's hard to judge someone if you don't know them. And I feel like that's something that our generation especially does a little too often, is judge someone without getting to know the person.
How do you see social media affecting your confidence or the confidence of people around you, your peers?
I personally have spaced myself from social media and that world because it is a very toxic place in most aspects. It could be helpful, like some people are there to support others on that world of social media, but a lot of it is false accusations, false personas, and the standard is really skewed, and just what you see online is very skewed from real life. You see a lot of the happy moments, you see a lot of the triumphs and all of that, but you don't see a lot of the hardship and a lot of the what you got to get there. And I feel like that's a big part of it. And you can see that with the world around, just people trying to be that fake, perfect person, what they see online or what they hear. And trying to kind of fit in.
Yeah. It sounds like we see people's highlight reels, right? We see all the great things that are happening, but we don't see all the things that are happening behind the scenes. So then we think that we're the only person. We think that we're alone and feeling bad and having those bad feelings and feeling sad and feeling scared. We think that we're alone because we see everybody else's exciting. We see everybody else's beautiful. Because we don't post pictures of us that we don't feel good in, right?
And it's a lot it's not genuine. And I feel a lot, life for me is to be genuine and to be happy with yourself instead of trying to be someone else. In that sense, at school, there's so many different people and what they perceive themselves to be, or try to show others on what to be because they're too concerned about what others see them as than what they see themselves as. And that's a thing that I think a lot of people have to work on.
You are so wise for your age.
Thank you.
And I'm very proud of you for realizing that you needed to step away from social media, right? To just realize that that was good for your own mental health. Now, when it comes to social media, was the filters an issue? Seeing people with all these filters that weren't real life? Was it hard for you to decipher if it was real or not?
Yeah, there's so much technology and AI and Photoshop nowadays that people completely distort a lot of their pictures. And even on I've seen people on Snapchat, the filters are insane. They look real, but you're not the same person. And you're not your true self. And I feel like with social media, that is a very normal thing, is to not be yourself and to be something for views or for likes or to be popular, like even at school. And school is a whole thing. Popularity is a weird concept. And it's just like, I have to be this persona or this perfect person is so weird to me. Like, you're not going to be perfect. You're a human being. You're not going to have the perfect body or like have perfect skin, have everything you need. Like no one's perfect. And that's something that everyone says, but no one feels it.
Something that everyone says, but no one feels it. Isn't that interesting how people do say no one's perfect, but then everybody still tries to be perfect? That's very wise of you. And it's interesting to hear you, because from my generation, you know, we compared so deeply, but we didn't have the social media. We started having social media when I was in high school a little bit, but not the same level as you. So it's interesting to hear that the same things are happening, just with new technologies. What are some things that make you feel confident?
Well, it depends on the day, because some days I'm very confident if I've done something well or have given myself worth throughout like things that I've done, then I feel confident. But the days that I don't feel confident, I like doing art or like doing makeup, because I do love makeup. And I try not to do like heavy makeup, because I feel that like filters, it distorts your like genuine self. But I do a lot of art, and art is one of my strong suits. So I do like doing art when I don't feel as confident and when I feel insecure. And I like to get comfortable, like in baggier clothing. And it's like, it's trying to feel better about yourself. And when I don't feel like that, I try to get myself back into the mindset that, okay, I've done so much with my life. I've earned this. I've earned to be confident. Like,
I've earned to be confident. Isn't that so just wise in thinking that maybe confidence comes from the things that we are good at? It doesn't take away from the things that we are not good at, right? Maybe we started focusing, like you said, on those things that we're good at, like art, focusing on things that we do well. Maybe that could make us feel more confident in the times that we don't feel confident, hey?
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Do you feel pressured, like, to be like other people?
Oh, completely. It is a very broad and general thing to be pressured. It's peer pressuring, especially in school or in a job. Like, you want to be like the perfect person or like everyone else, because humans almost tend to like go as a herd, like animals do. It's an instinct. Everyone wants to be as one. But if the world was copy and paste, it would be so boring. And it's just like, I do feel that, but I don't embrace it.
I feel that, but I don't embrace it. And maybe being able to feel things and not having to take them on as our own is okay. So maybe being able to feel maybe insecure at times, maybe you feel I don't look like that person, but not making it change our own self-worth and our own perspective. Maybe that's the answer. What do you think?
Finding that confidence is something that you have to learn. It's not something that is automatically given to you. Like, we are all born confident, but that's stripped away from us like very early on. But we have to learn to get that back and to keep it. I got bullied a lot during school, and those events and those things that have happened to me have carved me into the person that I am. Without going through those hardships, I wouldn't have been here. And I thank you for that, for letting me have this opportunity. I do have a question for you. How can I and young women and young generation in general have a better relationship and bond with social media without it being unhealthy?
Great question, Ella. Thank you for asking me that. I think what you have done is the number one thing that we can do. Sit with ourselves and decide, is social media making me feel good or is social media making me feel bad? And being able to discern that to figure out if social media is adding to our life or taking away from it. And if we realize that when we're on social media, we feel icky, we feel yucky, we feel like we're not good enough, we're comparing ourselves to people, then maybe it's a time to step back. And if we're feeling, oh, this makes me so excited, I'm really happy to see this, maybe we can be on a little bit more. But how we can do that, and the first way of taking a step back, is there's nothing wrong with making your parents look like the bad guys. There's nothing wrong with going to your parents and saying, I don't feel comfortable being on social media anymore. It makes me feel yucky, but I'm afraid to tell my friends that I can't be on social media. Can I tell my friends that you told me that I can't do it?
And that has a lot to do with the bond you have with your parents as well. And I feel like the bond you have with your parents also helps with your confidence. Like, because you can go to them and tell them and go through those hardships. Like, shout out to my mom. She's great. She's been there for me when I've been through a lot. And she's helped me get through it. And she teaches me that confidence is not something you just have. It's built up, and you have to learn how to be yourself and not care what other people think.
Exactly. And it's challenging with social media because there's all these different perspectives that come in, right? That a lot of our generations before didn't have, right? The only people that you knew that could bully you, the only people that you knew who were around you giving you different advice were the people in your classroom, were the people out on the playground with you, or maybe people in your community. But now we get this other piece of community, which is a good thing, but also a negative thing from all over the world, right? We can see people not just in our community, but also all of these teenagers in LA, right? And all these different teenagers in all the different parts of the world. So we're not comparing ourselves to the person down the street. We're now comparing ourselves to the person in LA who's an actress, right? And that can be so challenging. So the first step I say is to see if social media makes you feel good. And if it doesn't, start, like you have done, weaning yourself off of social media to see what that feels like. The second thing would be to not use filters, because I know a lot of the issues that I'm seeing with a lot of my clients who are around your age is they want to look like themselves, but themselves as the filter. Yeah. But that's not realistic. That is an AI filter. And when we go into the creation of it, it was actually created to look more like anime characters, which is why, the big eyes, the smaller chin, the smaller nose, it has nothing to do with reality, but was actually based on cartoon characters, right? Anime characters. Yeah. So how can we expect ourselves to look like anime characters, right? Because that's not realistic. So when we put a filter on ourselves, it actually changes the brain chemistry to start thinking, well, maybe that looks like me. Yeah. And the filter comes off and we say, well, I guess I just don't look as good as I thought I did, right? And that's not the case. It's just the filter. So finding your own boundaries around social media, seeing if it makes you feel good, and then also seeing, I don't think I like the look of myself with a filter because it makes me not like myself.
Yeah, and it's not you. It's not the genuine you.
Exactly. It's not the genuine you. The other piece of advice that I have for social media and really finding those boundaries is seeing how long you are on social media. So really starting to time yourself. And sometimes our phone can do that, but we forget how long we scroll. And TikTok, sometimes I've even had this happen to me where that person will come up and say, hey, you've been scrolling for too long, time to get a snack. And I look and I realize I've been scrolling for over an hour. Yeah. And that makes me feel yucky because I've been sitting and I've been watching all this different content that isn't myself, that isn't things that I actually like, isn't people around me, that just has been in my brain and me completely just, stopping what I'm thinking, just so that I can scroll. And typically when I'm scrolling, it's because I am trying to take an emotion and put it away. So figuring out why we are scrolling is an important part, but the most important part to start is figuring out how long we're scrolling. And maybe that doesn't have to be stop scrolling. That doesn't mean we have to stop doing what we're doing completely. But maybe we think, okay, if I'm scrolling for 45 minutes a day, maybe I can bring that down to 40 minutes. And with that 5 extra minutes, maybe I can go have a snack. Maybe I can do a little meditation if that feels good. Maybe I can go do my homework or talk to a friend on the phone. Maybe go walk to the park if that feels good for you. So just instead of changing it altogether, because I think it's silly to also ask to completely cut it out if that doesn't feel good for you, we can just take 5 minutes less. right? And feel what that feels like. And then maybe after so instead of 45 minutes, we're spending 40 minutes. Maybe after that, now we're spending 35 and then 30.
Yeah.
So those are the 3 tips that I have. Find your own boundaries, see if it feels good. Stop using those filters because it makes you feel bad about yourself, and then find how long you're on social media and start slowly cutting back from it without cutting cold turkey, because that can be really hard too.
Yeah, instead of like going down a hill almost.
Yeah, exactly. Is that helpful?
I do have a couple more questions. First off, how can I build my boundaries and be okay with saying no?
Ooh, we heard from another guest earlier today. We were filming, or yesterday we were filming, but earlier in this series. No is a full sentence, right? Sometimes that feeling after we say no to something. Let's say an example. Maybe a friend asks us, "Hey, you know, I want to watch this movie and my mom's not going to allow me, but like, don't tell anyone," right? Yeah. And you roll your eyes because I'm sure you felt that. And when we say no, it can feel really scary because we're like, well, maybe they're going to think less of me. Maybe they're going to think that I'm, what do you think when you thought that? I can see you kind of nodding.
Yeah, it's like you want to, as a people pleaser, you want to do stuff for others. You want to make them happy because that makes you happy, as our last person had said. Dennis, great guy, he was saying it gives, by making someone else happy, it gives you gratitude, and that's really powerful. And I'm also no is a full sentence is a very powerful thing.
Yeah. So when like a friend says, "Let's watch this movie. It's gonna be scary. My parents won't let me watch it. Let's watch it." That feeling of saying no might feel like you're going to hurt them, right? Might feel like they might think that you're being silly. Maybe they're going to look down on you is what we think, right? But when we are able to say no and then sit in that kind of yucky feeling couple seconds, right? When you say, "I don't really want to do that." The first thing we want to do is, "But I mean, if you want to, maybe, sure, I don't know." And then we back off from our boundaries. So getting comfortable and waiting 5 seconds after we say no. So, "Hey, do you want to watch this movie?" "No, I don't really want to watch that." And then we wait 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Even though it feels scary, we wait for their response because we do not have to go back on our no, right? If we say no, we do not have to go back on that. And feeling okay saying no is practice. It takes a lot of practice to feel okay saying no. So as you grow, the next time you say no, it might get a little bit easier and then a little bit easier. But knowing what feels like a no for you and what feels like a yes for you. And when something feels like a no for you, there's a reason why, right? It might be scary. It might be inappropriate. It might be dangerous, right? When we feel that no, really listening to that no and giving that 5 seconds without trying to jump into it can be really, really helpful for us. The other piece is that saying no and speaking your mind is the kindest thing you can do. Because if someone asks us to do something or someone says something to us as inappropriate and we stand our boundaries, it's us saying to them, "Hey, I don't feel comfortable with this, and I'm letting you in enough so that you can change the behavior," right? Or I'm letting you in enough and I'm being vulnerable enough with you so that you will understand that I trust you and that we can change this together. Saying no can often be the kindest thing you can do to a friend.
Yeah, instead of playing them on or leading them on.
Yeah, exactly. So that can be really helpful. So waiting those 5 seconds and then understanding that it's actually really kind to say no or to stand up for yourself.
Yeah. All right, I have another question. What is life like after school?
Ooh, it gets better. That's all I can say. It gets better. School is really challenging, especially when you're in that middle school, high school. You're figuring out who you are. You're finding these new versions of yourself. You're trying different things out, right? You're trying out maybe one day you kind of want to be, emo punk. And the next day you want to be a little preppy.
Yeah.
And that's okay, right? But in that, you also have these weird boxes that you try to fit into. And you've mentioned this today where, people are trying to be something that they're not. And they're trying to be perfect even though it's not there.
Yeah.
Once you graduate school and you can be around people who have the same likes and interests as you do, let's say you go to university and you're in the same program as somebody, you can start seeing people for the same ideologies that you have, and you can start picking the people that you want to be around. Because school is really hard. You're kind of around those people.
Yeah.
You can change schools, which is really great if that feels good for you. But once you get out of school, then you can really figure out what feels good for you and who feels good for you. And then you can start making the choices for yourself that feel more authentic to you. Yeah. So school is really, really hard. And I don't think that people your age are told that enough sometimes, that, you know, well, adulting is hard. Yes, but school is also really hard. We all have our own hard, and we all have our own lived experience that make things really challenging. So I want to tell you that school can be really, really challenging. It can feel really, really lonely, and you're not alone in that. But after school, and yes, of course, there's some things that, you know, I don't really like paying bills, but you know what I do like? I do like being able to do whatever I feel good doing.
Yeah, it's the freedom.
The freedom to feel what I like to do. The freedom to hang out with people that I want to hang out with.
Finding your place and your people to be truly happy.
Yeah. So it gets better. What makes me truly happy? Helping other people and providing love for my family. That's what makes me really, really happy. And that also is what makes me feel really confident. When I can support other people and support my family with the love and respect that my family deserves, I feel really, really confident, because I feel like those are my values. And when I can give that to the world, I know that I can change the world little steps at a time. And that's what makes me happy and confident. And that's what allows me to make those steps to realize I'm not perfect, and that's okay. Because today I made my family with lots of love. Yeah. And today I supported people around me. And to me, that's what success and happiness looks like.
Are you confident? And if so, how did you get there?
Ooh, I am wildly confident. And to me, confidence isn't not having insecurities, because I have insecurities all of the time, right? At times I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't like these pants. I look too fat
Those pants
today.
are amazing, by the way.
I know, they really are. But oftentimes I'll think even things like, oh, I'm not being a very good parent today. I feel guilty about not being with my son. Yeah. I'll also look and I'm like, maybe I'm not doing as well as everybody, right? Same with social media. I look around and I think, oh my goodness, like I should be so much better than I am. I should be so much more successful. I should be so much richer. All these things. Yeah. I still have those insecurities, but what sets me apart and my own confidence apart is that when I have those insecurities, I'm able to allow myself to feel them. Say it's okay. Say, you have a space in me. There's a reason why I'm thinking this, because you're trying to keep me safe. I understand that. And then making small steps to start working on them, not to make them go away, but rather to allow us to make decisions that still feel authentic to us. Right? So when I think, I look a little fat today, I think I'm allowed to feel that. That's an okay feeling to have. That feeling and that thought has a space in me. But I don't look fat today, right? I look beautiful today. I really love my eyes. I really love my hair today. Yeah, I have a couple extra pounds on my waist because I carry this beautiful, beautiful boy. I also really like food. And my stomach can nourish me so deeply. And my stomach also allows me to be such a great exercise motivator, right? I have the body to be able to move, and that is so fantastic. So not thinking, I'm not fat, everything's fine, right? Thinking, maybe it's okay that I have some more weight on me. Maybe it's okay that I own a body and I'm allowed to exist regardless of what I look like in terms of society standards. So that's what confidence looks like for me, and that's why and how I got to being so confident is allowing those insecurities to sit, not fighting them off, and then finding actionable steps on how I can come to a neutral point with it so that I can make decisions that still feel good for me.
Like on those insecure days, finding things that you really love about yourself instead of dwelling on what you don't.
Yeah. I'm interested to know what you would tell an adult about confidence and about what confidence looks like in someone your age.
I feel like adults look down and they're like, okay, they're either not confident or they are. But there's this whole middle ground of it fluctuates. It's like the ocean. It's not just one. It's not a brick wall. It flows, and it can be different, and different people express their confidence in different ways. It doesn't have to mean they're an extrovert or an introvert. Like, not everyone is a stone. We're like little rivers that all flow and they fluctuate, and it really depends on who they are and what they are feeling in the moment or what happens around them.
Yeah. And what I'm hearing is maybe a little bit of like, I'm going to change. And when I do change, don't worry about it as much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Just being okay finding that new version of you. And just because you're finding a new version of you doesn't mean that there's anything wrong. And maybe allowing that fluidity of you. Is that what you say?
And like supporting you through those changes instead of trying to either grow up too fast or just like stay the same person. People change.
Yeah. And I think adults, it's so hard because we sit in these boxes, right? Where we're like, okay, well, this is what I do for work. And, you know, this is the kids that I have. And this is what I like to do for fun. That we forget what it feels like to be so beautifully moldable and so beautifully flowing that we ask our children to also be fit in a box too, right? And I'm sure that teachers do this. I'm sure that we hear this from a lot of different adult teachers, coaches. So yeah, so if you're a teacher or coach or parent listening, allow your kids to be fluid. Yeah, allow them to try new things and realize that they're not going to be the same person every week.
And they need support through those things and through any hardship they go through. A lot of kids, they don't have the support that they need to get through those hard times, so they sit with them and they get stuck. But they need to feel it and let go or move on.
Now, from your perspective, what does support look like from an adult? How can an adult support you through those changes?
Yeah, it's like it's really being there. It's being there and actively listening if they need it, and really just having the support to have someone to talk to through anything. Not just like the good and the bad. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Like everything. You need to have someone to talk to. And I'm really glad that I have that relationship with my mom and I could talk to her about anything. But I understand a lot of people don't have that. They don't have that bond with one of their parents or significant guardians. But it's really sitting and listening and really absorbing what they're going through and trying to almost be as more of a friend than a parent in that sense. Like not trying to just fix everything or control, because you are the parent, you're older than them, usually more in charge, but just like being their friend. Like having a child is being their best friend, like someone they can always go to.
That's beautiful. And the people, and I also like really commend you for understanding like the privilege of having a parents who are so supportive. And if people don't have those supportive parents, or they feel like they can't go to their parents, I would like to also give some advice that you can find a teacher, or you can find a coach, maybe a friend's parent who you like really connect with, to be able to speak. And also knowing that there are no such thing as secrets with other adults, right? And if an adult tells you to try to keep a secret, we tell our parents right away, right? But finding those people and those adults around us who make us feel like we can actually be ourselves and speak in a safe way. Yeah. So Ella, I want to thank you so much for asking those questions. Those are some really thought out questions, and I know how hard it is to be in your age, but I also know how exciting it is to be in your age. It is very
exciting.
Yeah, the world is your oyster. And I know you want to go into architecture eventually.
Yeah.
Which is really, really exciting.
It really is.
So I want to ask you a question. What is the most important thing?
Oh, that's a really big question. Probably like how you spend your life. Like what you do in your life. If you were like, as one of our last podcasters said, if you were dying, would you be happy with how you spend your life? As a poem I read was like, how you spend your dash. Will you be happy with how you spend your dash if you were about to die? And it's really about being caring, being loving. And if you get older and you regret so many things, well, try to make it while you're younger to realize that and make things that you would be so proud of instead of regretting them. Treating people nice, treating yourself nice, and realizing that like you're good. You're good how you are. You don't have to change for someone else.
Yeah. I just want to give you the biggest standing ovation. That is such a beautiful answer. Thank you. What is the worst piece of advice you've ever received?
Probably you're fine.
That's delicious. Say that again.
You're fine. You don't have to be fine. It's okay to live in the moment and embrace the uncomfortable. And like to feel it, take it in, and then move on.
Ella, oh my God. Stop. I'm tearing up too. Whoa! No one's done this for me yet.
Are you okay?
No, I'm not okay. You wrecked me. That's really beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Do you want to go back to your best piece of advice you ever received?
It was from my mom, and it was, only you have the power to change yourself. You're going to go through things in school, in work, in life in general. You have to build the confidence to be okay with yourself. And you can't change others, but you can change yourself. You can change how you act. You can change how you treat people, but you can't change others.
And with that, Ella, I want to thank you so dearly for coming on today. I know this can be really intimidating. It can be really scary, but I really wanted to get the perspective of someone like you who is stepping into your own self, stepping into your confidence, stepping into who you are. And you provided such wisdom today that is so beyond your years. And we were talking earlier how beautiful it is that your generation has this fantastic language to explore these different topics that a lot of our generations didn't either, which is so exciting, but I can imagine it's also a little bit intimidating.
A little bit.
Do you want to talk on that a little bit?
It can be a little bit intimidating because everyone talks so deeply about it that sometimes you feel like, yeah, but someone else is going through more than me. Like, why do I have to feel it? But you get to feel it because it's your life. And that's their life. They're going to get through it, but you have to get through your own things first before you can help others.
Put on your own oxygen mask before helping others. Beautiful. Well, again, thank you so much, Ella.
Thank you so
I truly appreciate this. We'll see you soon.
We'll see you soon. Thank you.
This podcast is designed for entertainment purposes only and should not be considered as professional advice. Always consult with relevant experts or professionals for personalized guidance.